One thing to know about me, I love Halloween. Always have, always will. Every October I spend thousands making sure my house is the spookiest on the block. The decorations put even some of the local haunted houses to shame, though I make sure not to go too crazy, don't want another HOA citation. I also give out the best treats, king size candy bars. That's right. King size. It's no wonder so many trick-or-treaters come crowding outside my door each year. But of course, they'll have to earn it first. So many kids nowadays don't take Halloween seriously, throwing on last-minute costumes just to feed their sugar fix and rot their teeth out. You only get so many Halloweens before people start saying you're too old. And these brats are wasting them. Don't they know that some people would kill to be that age again? Young. Young like the girl currently ringing my doorbell. Thwick or thweet. She lisps between two missing front teeth while lifting up her treat bag. She can't be older than 6, and her costume isn't really much of one at all, just an ordinary child's romper that cuts off above her terribly scraped up knees, like she'd fallen on the way here. I feign a smile of my own. Now aren't you a cutie? Were you so excited to go trick-or-treating that you forgot to put on your costume, dear? The child freezes. You don't recognize me? I look her over again. Maybe she's dressed as a character from some TV show she likes. Still doesn't change the fact that it's an awful costume. Boring, like those wise kids who think it's a good idea to dress up as someone from the office. A good costume should be eye-catching regardless of whether someone gets the reference or not. I'm sorry, hon, I really don't. Before I can shoo her off my porch, I notice tears welling up in her big green eyes. For heaven's sake. Really? Reluctantly, I reach out to comfort her, and she grabs my arm with a strength uncanny for someone her size. An ugly, guttural sound emanates from her throat as she chokes back sobs. But you, she sniffles, I'm past. I can't make out the rest. Past what? Past the age to be making a scene on someone's porch? Speaking of, where is this girl's parents? I search for them in the evening gloom, and am instead greeted with a sight most unwelcome. Trick or treat. Choruses a new batch of children, great. More of them. Normally, more trick-or-treaters would be a good thing. But the 10 or so kids now marching up to me were some of the cheapest, most half-assed costumes I've seen all night. Bedsheet ghosts, pirates donning nothing but a paper hat and an eye patch, a Dracula with only a blanket cape and candy fangs. Smell my feet. But all of that pales compared to the one leading the pack, a girl barely in her teens wearing nothing more than leggings and a stained shirt. In one hand holds a pillowcase to stow her treats, and in the other, a coffee mug for some godforsaken reason. Upon climbing the last step, she flashes me the most insufferable grin, finishing the song with, "Give me something good to eat." That does it. Everything starts to go red and my blood boils. Anyone who can't be bothered to dress up properly for Halloween deserves nothing. Maddeningly enough, the adolescent has the audacity to look confused at what I said. She doesn't recognize us. Cries the first little girl, still latched onto my arm. In my anger I'd forgotten her. And wait, did she say us? Were they together? I inspect the little girl and the older one, noting that they share the same sage green eyes. One's not too different from my own actually. Maybe they're sisters. Whatever the case, the teen somehow draws meaning from the outburst, and her arrogant smirk slips back into place. Oh, but I am wearing a costume. Oh really now, I snort. Yep. You see I'm you. But from the, let me guess. The future? The girl's eyes widen. The present. I'm you. In the present, she finishes lamely. She's even trembling a bit. Ha! She must not have expected me to see through her ruse so easily, paper thin as it was, and had to pivot to an even more pathetic excuse, like really now? Me from the present? We aren't even wearing the same thing. What with me costumed as the Red Queen from Alice, and her as a soccer mom. Going off the fact that her treat bag isn't empty. That little trick might have worked on the other bimbos that lived around her. But me, I have standards. The teen quickly recovers. Come on, lady. Don't be a Scrooge. What will you do with all that candy if not give it to us? Maybe I'll have it all to myself, I retort. Her green eyes lock onto my own. You won't live very long with a diet like that. My rebuttal dies on my lips as I finally become aware of the other trick-or-treaters, the juvenile mob still silent behind her, and how their eyes, wide as saucers, seem mesmerized by the candy dish in my hand. Drool trickles from their mouths, running down cheap plastic masks and overpainted faces. Greedy little fingers jerk and spasm, forming claws ready to shred anything that stands in the way of their covetous sweets. My blood turns cold and I feel the urge to rush back inside and away from these little monsters, slam the door in their faces, and I try, but the little girl has my arm in a death grip. I can't budge an inch. Desperately I search for something, anything, that can get me out of this situation, and spot a lone figure shambling towards us. Now that's what I call a costume. I shout, pointing behind them. A couple of the delinquents manage to tear their eyes away from the candy dish long enough to follow my finger, and what follows after they lay eyes on the newcomer, screams. At first it's just one, high and blood-curdling, sharp enough to split the nightly air in half. And then like dominoes the others turn around, first to the screamer, then to the cause of the screaming, and fall into the chorus until all the block seems to be filled with their terror. Not that it's completely unjustified. It is one hell of a costume. The newcomer is a girl of indiscriminate age, being impossible to tell from underneath her costume. Through what must be an ingenious use of makeup and prosthetics. The new girl appears as if she's being eaten alive, or more accurately, gnawed to death, by a horde of vermin. A soiled, ragged dress reveals even raggedier flesh shot through with countless wounds oozing with congealed blood, and clustered around each one are ants, cockroaches, centipedes, posed to look like they're burrowing inside the girl. Tunneling, hollowing her from the inside out. A living, walking hive, it must have cost a fortune. As the new girl shambles up the porch, the other kids back far away from her, some of them fleeing outright. The only exception, surprisingly enough, is the first little girl, who seems entirely unfazed by the gruesome costume. Still, it serves enough of a distraction for me to slip free from her grasp. Rubbing away the soreness in my arm, I turn to the newcomer with my first genuine smile of the night. Hey there, sweetie. I love your costume. No words pass through the girl's scarred lips, her only response a silent stare, dull and one-eyed, as the other eye is a ruined bloody mess with bugs burrowing through the socket. Talk about staying in character. I scoop a handful of candy into her palm. A palm attached to a hand that looks like a Rottweiler's chew toy. The flesh on her pinky has been entirely gnawed off, exposing bone, and from it dangles a small black rat, hanging on by its teeth buried into the bone. Another rubber prop, I assume. That is, until I see the thing twitch, I shriek, jumping back, causing the candy dish to slip out of my hands and into the bushes below. The girl doesn't react in any matter, still as the grave, and so is the rat, just as lifeless. Neither now does the rat biting into her hand, if it had ever actually moved in the first place. I must be more shaken up from that close call earlier than I'd thought. My cheeks burn bright in embarrassment. I'll go get some more candy, hon, be right back. I dive back inside, heading for the cellar where I keep the leftover Halloween candy. It's dark inside the cellar. The stale air is paradoxically both dusty and humid. I rarely come down here. I'll have to hire a cleaner. The lone, naked light bulb sputters enough light to barely make out the far wall. I walk over to a box labeled Halloween leftovers in fat black Sharpie. As I reach to grab it off the shelf, I notice the date scrawled under it. It's not from last year, but from 4 Halloweens ago. And yet somehow, the box feels oddly heavy. Oddly full. Slowly I open the top flaps. And am immediately sent gagging from the stench of spoiled milk and fermented sugar. No, no, no. This won't do. This won't do at all. I'm hiring that cleaner first thing in the morning. When the noxious fumes have finally left my lungs, the tears they sprung blinked away, I realize in dawning horror that this is not a one-time blunder. Deeper into the cellar, lining the walls, are entire shelves of old Halloween leftovers. Like the first, each box is marked with a date, revealing an entire mausoleum of spoiled sweets. A sugary graveyard. How could there be so much of it? Did I really hand out so few treats each Halloween? Perhaps I should lower my standards. Just a bit, walking down the aisle, I notice underneath the sound of creaking floorboards a grating warble. I can't pinpoint the source, it's effusive, seemingly emanating from all around me. It grows louder as I walk farther in, to the point where it sets on my teeth on edge. I'll have to remember to hire an electrician as well. Obviously, the wiring is faulty. At the end of the room, I finally reach a box marked as last year's goodies. Unlike the other one, this one is taped up, requiring me to scratch off the corners of the tape on the sides to open it. The candy inside still looks edible, though the wrappers are a little sticky. This should suffice. I'm lifting it up when the largest cockroach I've ever seen darts from behind the shelf. I yelp, stumbling back into an adjacent shelf hard enough that the box it holds tips over, drenching me in a saccharine emulsion of spoiled chocolate and melted taffy. Yuck, my beautiful costume, ruined, and I don't even want to think about getting this out of my hair. Even removing my now soiled dress doesn't help much, the sugary goop seeped right through it and onto my skin where it adheres like a candy crust. Double yuck. While I'm picking myself off the floor, I notice something in the corner of my vision. Propped up on a lower shelf is a book. A photo album of my childhood, conspicuously already open to a page in the middle. I recognize the photo instantly. It was taken 20-some years ago, depicting a me fresh out of kindergarten. I remember the day well, of course. I had fallen off the swing set, landing face first. Knocked out my 2 front teeth, and got scraped up real bad. A small part of me thinks it a little messed up that my parents would put this in the album. A much larger part of me is consumed with the realization that the bawling girl in the photo is the spitting image of the little girl I'd met earlier. The one missing her front teeth. Unbidden, her words pop into my head, when I asked about her costume. Past. PST, that's what she meant. She's me from the past. Baffling choice and get up aside, there's absolutely no way she could have seen this photo, having been down here collecting dust all these years. Even I had long forgotten about it. And like some great horrendous machine churning to life, my brain begins to turn. Begins to make other connections, as well. Like about the older girl who claimed to be me from the present, and how, with my costume taken off, I noticed that my underclothes are the exact same. Even the coffee stain from when I spilled my latte during my rush to find batteries for the animatronic skeleton. Okay. So there's one girl dressed up as the me of the past, another as the me in present. Did that mean there was one more girl? The me of the future. For some reason, the thought brings chills. I mentally replay the night's events in my head and can't come up with anyone that could fit the bill. Maybe they don't exist. Maybe there is no third, weird little girl with an eerily accurate costume. Or maybe I just haven't met them yet, having gone inside before they could arrive. If I was to go back outside as originally planned, would I get to meet her? Maybe she's already out on that porch, right now. Would I even want to? To meet this me from the future, the thought is morbidly tantalizing, like standing on the edge of a cliff. Inexorable as gravity. I shake the thoughts out of my head. This is stupid. With this Halloween being a bust, The only thing I'm going to do is turn my lights off early and get this candy off me by way of a long hot shower. Picking myself up, I dust myself off, or try to anyway. The gummy sweets adhere too strongly to my skin and clothes to brush off. Definitely going to need that shower. I make my way to exit, but when I try the door, it refuses to budge, because of course it wouldn't. Guess I'll have to hire a locksmith too. I never should have come down here. I shoot a text to my maid who has a spare key of my house. 2 minutes later and still no response. Just because you're on your day off doesn't mean you can't pick up your calls, Martha. Good grief, for a second, I debate calling 911 but ultimately decide against it. It's not really an emergency. Besides, I don't want to give any of those terminally bored housewives I'm unfortunate to call neighbors anything more to gawk at. Decision made, I plop down on the floor, determined to wait until the maid sees my text or, at the very worst, when she undoubtedly finds me at 6 a.m. tomorrow when she reports in for work. But as the minutes while away in this dusty cellar, the night's events and revelations begin to gnaw at me. I realize that I'm breathing way too fast. Try to do some breath exercises. Doesn't work. I heard once that journaling can be calming, hence this little story I wrote on my phone. Recounting this strange series of events from start to finish. It helps a little, I think. I'm still debating whether I should actually post it or not. On one hand, I'm not much for strangers prying into my business. But on the other, commiserating with strangers on the shittiness today's generation of kids could very much be what I need to get through this even shittier situation. In the midst of my typing, the buzzing sounds reach a peak, taking on a new form that sounds almost like chittering. A cacophonous noise coming from all around me. I lift my eyes, and am met with hundreds more, belonging to a horde of vermin. In every direction lies ants and roaches and rats, all grotesquely fat from years of gorging on spoiled sweets, and I can tell from the way they look at my sugar-saturated form, their appetite isn't quite sated yet. Their ravenous gaze brings to mind the kids still waiting on my porch. All of them had that same hungry look, well, all except one. The last girl in the impressively made costume, I had seen something almost sad in her one remaining eye. An eye of sage green. Just like my own, I'm already onto my feet, pounding on the door before I realize the scream tearing out of my throat, noticed only through the burning of vocal cords shredding themselves against each other. The sound itself doesn't even reach my own ears, drowned out as it is by the scuttling of thousands of clawed feet and the chittering of gnashing teeth. I don't dare look back, vision narrowing solely to the door in front of me, and how it can't be locked because the knob turns and yet it won't. Fucking move. I fumble around with my phone, madly shaking legs to get bugs and worse from crawling up them, and turn on the flashlight. Glued stuck within the door hinges is some gummy substance. Old taffy. Desperate, I try clawing it off, but recoil when I feel a sharp pain in my hand. I lift my hand up to the phone's light. Dangling off my pinky is a small, mottled black rat. It had bitten me right down to the bone.